We just wrapped up discussing Hegseth's bonkers speech in front of the top military leaders, a bunch of heroes brought from around the world, taken away from their stations, traveling all the way to Virginia to hear Hegseth say, we're no longer the woke department, we're the war department. And then Trump said, hey, Hegseth, hold my beer. Let me see if I can outdo the bonkersness of your speech, starting with him coming out and being like, why is no one clapping for me? And he was, I think, embarrassed by the fact that these professionals understand they're not supposed to be cheering for political messages. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, not political. And Trump was very embarrassed and baffled by that.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is... don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future.
So that was the equivalent of, you can clap for that.
You can clap for that.
By Kimberly Guilfoyle. You can clap for that. Ron Filipkowski responded, the professionalism that our most senior military commanders exhibited with their silence today, despite repeated attempts by Hegseth and Trump begging them to please clap, was encouraging and should be an example to all troops when they try to exploit them for partisan politics. Exactly, and perfectly said. And then a lot of this was just difficult to follow, if I'm going to be honest. People were asking how much Tylenol is Trump on, and I saw that Lawrence O'Donnell, we're going to circle back to this, but this whole segment being like, is Trump high a lot? And I guess Trump posted some video talking about how cannabis can heal all these things. And so then Lawrence O'Donnell was running with a theory of, can that explain Trump's behavior? That maybe
you're Willie Nelson high.
Maybe that's the reason. And it really does seem throughout the speech, he's kind of like mumbling and slurring and saying slightly incoherent statements.
When we go with the word war, and we want war because we want to have no wars.
Yeah.
But you have to be there, and sometimes you have to do it.
We want war because we want no wars. Because sometimes you have to be there, sometimes you have to do it. There it is. I mean, how can you argue with that? And then I guess he's not familiar with the word lore. Lore? While we watch this, please do, if you appreciate the show, click the subscribe button. And then, if you don't want to be as sleepy as Trump is in this, you can get yourself some pep. That is my family business. Active probiotics. Good for the gut. Treat your gut better than Trump treats his. Drinkpep.com. You can order it directly to your doorstep, and you're supporting a brother's business. My two other brothers are in the military and are working on this while they're doing that. Incredible. And it's good. It tastes good, but it's also not all the junk that gets put in a lot of energy drinks. Here's Trump.
In American military legends and lore. That's L-O-R-E. It is lore.
Legends and lore. I feel like even if you kind of got confused about that word for some reason, you would kind of go, oh, like that lore. Legends and lore was the phrase. And then he spells it out for us.
In American military legends and lore. That's L-O-R-E. It is lore.
What? How is it groceries and lore he's never heard of? And then he does, hey, to his credit, he finally admitted that no one walks down Air Force One steps like Obama.
Legacy, we don't want that. You walk nice and easy. You don't have to set any record. Be cool. Be cool when you walk down, but don't bop down the stairs. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, bop, bop, bop. He'd go down the stairs, wouldn't hold on. I said, it's great. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it. But eventually, bad things are going to happen. And it only takes once. But he did a lousy job as president.
Some of the highest ranking most admired military leaders are in the crowd. And he's talking about Obama down the stairs, which I've referenced before. I think it was Trevor Noah. There was a really funny Trevor Noah bit about this, about how no president went down the Air Force One steps like Obama, and it would be like this, almost like a little dance, like music was playing, and he would just sort of, there was a sensual characteristic to how he would go down the stairs, and that does, let's be honest, run very much in stark contrast against both of our last two presidents and how they would go up and down the stairs. Then Trump had battleships on his mind, not the game.
To use an old term, I think we should maybe start thinking about battleships, by the way. You know, we have a Secretary of the Navy came to me, because I look at the Iowa out in California, and I look at different ships and the old pictures. I used to watch Victory at Sea. I love Victory at Sea. Look at these admirals. It's got to be your all-time in black and white. And I look at those ships. They came with the destroyers alongside of them, and man, nothing was going to stop. They were 20 deep, and they were in a straight line, and there was nothing going to stop them. And we actually talk about, you know, those ships. Some people would say, no, that's old technology. I don't know. I don't think it's old technology when you look at those guns. But it's something we're actually considering, the concept of battleship.
They're considering the concepts of battleships. So I don't have to explain it, but what he's referencing is like, that term, what it encompasses, we don't use battleships anymore. We have aircraft carriers and destroyers, and the current military technology makes the old battleships no longer as dominant or relevant. And so Trump's, I guess, saying we're considering the concepts of battleships because when he looks at them, they look really strong, and that he might want to take the USS Bush, I don't know, out of back into commission.
Those guns, but it's something we're actually considering, the concept of battleship. Nice 6-inch sides, solid steel, not aluminum that melts if it looks at a missile coming at it. Starts melting as the missile's about 2 miles away. Now those ships, they don't make them that way anymore, but you look at it and your secretary likes it, and I'm sort of open to it. And bullets are a lot less expensive than missiles. A lot of reasons. I should take a vote, but I'm afraid to take that vote because I may get voted out on that one. But I tell you, it's something we're seriously considering. There were powers. There were big powers.
This is really, honestly, it's sad. It's a little bit sad, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable. And I cannot imagine, this is what really makes me depressed, is all of these, I keep calling them, heroes and just highly admired and life experiences and the leadership qualities of a lot of the folks in the crowd, looking up on stage, and first Hegseth comes out manic and zoinked, all, woo, we're not woke anymore, we're the War Department, sort of. And they're like, oh, he's our boss. Okay, but maybe his boss will be a little bit more reasonable. I think you're considering the concepts of battleships because they're huge. They're humongous, 6 inches, gargantuous. And just thinking those are our bosses. I feel so bad. You work up your whole life. You're at the top of the most powerful military in the world, and then your boss is this guy.
And it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear. I moved a submarine or two. I won't.
Okay, he's talking about nuclear, Cole. What rant is he gonna do? Nuclear? You know. The
N-word!
Yeah. Get ready.
Say about the two. Over to the coast of Russia. Just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them.
Such a shame. My 2 favorite words.
Can't use either of them.
He seems so sad about that. There's 2 N-words. He's talking about the N-word and then nuclear. And he goes, you can't say any of them anymore. But you can now because we're no longer the woke department. Hexeth runs back out on stage. Woo!
There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else.
Wait, which one? Wait, you didn't specify which one. This is getting... Take that off screen. What is happening? Oh my goodness gracious. This is frightening. In front of the military leaders, he says, why haven't I gotten the Nobel Peace Prize? Right after he did the ramble about how we're back to the War Department because we don't want wars, but we want war because now you got to do war, but we're not going to do war.
If this works out, we'll have 8 in 8 months. That's pretty good. Nobody's ever done that. Will you get the Nobel Prize? Absolutely not. They'll give it to some guy that didn't do a damn thing. They'll give it to a guy that wrote a book about the mind of Donald Trump and what it took to solve the wars. And he'll get the Nobel Prize will go to a writer.
Yeah, he has not at all ended 8 wars. He's just pulling that out of his rear end. And then in front of military leaders, he is promoting the idea of using the military on American streets.
That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly.
By the way, invasion, I don't want to get into like definitional debates here with Trump. But that doesn't actually make much sense that you're being invaded from within. But then they're in already. They did the in part of the invasion. So I don't know how that logistically works, but I don't have to show you. You know, he starts talking about, oh, we're going to go to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and is promoting what is a really dangerous idea, using the military for his own domestic purposes. And in front of folks who have actually, likely, some of them served in Afghanistan, you have Trump saying Washington, D.C. is more dangerous than Afghanistan.
One of the worst gangs ever. But we took care of them. We took good, strong care of them. And I just...
Wait, sorry. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. We took big, strong care of the gangs. That when you add those extra descriptors, it sounds like you're saying you like snuggled them or something. Trinidad had a nice. I was the little spoon, and Trinidad was the big spoon. We watched Love Island.
Ever. But we took care of them. We took good, strong care of them. And I just want to thank the National Guard in Washington, D.C. It's embarrassing to say this. Now I can say it because we solved it. But Washington, D.C. was the most unsafe, most dangerous city in the United States of America. And to a large extent, beyond. And beyond that, you go to Afghanistan, they didn't have anything like that. You go to countries that you would think there's problems, they didn't have that. And now Washington, D.C., after 12 days.
You think the Taliban is bad? Have you met the Transalban? Obviously, there's crime, and it's higher than we would want it. We don't want any crime in Washington, D.C. But speaking to people who fought in an active war zone in Afghanistan and being like, you saw nothing compared to the guy who threw the sandwich. No, there's murders, and it's too high. I'm with you. We're not going to systemically address our crime problems by sending the military every which way. And again, Trump's wisdom in the reallocation of resources for his own causes, like grabbing up even people with no criminal records in these ICE raids, I just want to remind you, is having the inverse effect on going after some of those gangs and criminal organizations that Trump is big, what do you say? Big, strongly taking care of. Federal drug prosecutions fall to lowest level in decades as Trump shifts focus to deportations. All the resources going there is actually causing this plummet in criminal conspiracies on the types of topics that Trump said: drug trafficking, money laundering, etc. Those sorts of criminal conspiracies are not seeing justice because all these resources are being allocated to raiding Home Depot instead than this.
Office was to restore the principle of merit. That's the most important word, other than the word tariff. I love tariffs. Most beautiful word. But I'm not allowed to say that anymore. I said tariff is my favorite word. I love the word tariff. You know,
remember who he's speaking to. I don't have to say it again, but just remember the room that he's in. Merit, important word other than tariff. And he just gets distracted and is over here thinking about tariffs, which is, he's setting up the easiest campaign ads ever, which is just point to the damage tariffs have done and then play on loop him talking about his deeper romantic relationship with terrorists than Melania, and how much he adores them. But also, you can't brand yourself the merit administration when Hegseth just spoke, first of all. Second of all, Lindsay Halligan, we talked about her lack of qualification. She's the one prosecuting Trump's political enemies. You're not the administration of merit. Then he tries to get people to say if they support a general he likes.
I hope you all agree. If anybody disagrees, could I please have your hand? Who disappears that Raisin Cane is no good? Just raise your hand.
Who disappears that Raisin Cane? He's gone.
I don't see any hands raised. All right. That means you're okay. That means that he's okay now, but I saw his results. You know, he took out
his slur and low energy is really particularly notable in that speech. So that was the disaster that was the hyped up. We spent, I think, a full week asking what was this meeting going to be, all these top leaders coming in from around the world, and it turned out to be that.